She only stayed with me because I found her a good job. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. My girlfriend, 22F, now ex, confessed to me, 24M, that she had been speaking to someone else over Instagram and that she had felt attracted to him but that she was feeling guilty and she regretted it. I fucking lost my shit. Why? You must be wondering, after all nothing happened. Well, I have a miraculous ability to spot people's lies and this crap was the biggest bullshit ever heard. She was cold since the beginning of the relationship, so feeling guilty for just talking didn't seem like her. Being too attached to her, I tried to let it go and focus on work, but something was off and I could still feel it. The paranoia was eating me from the inside out. During the next weeks we were mutually distant and she had been surprisingly social, going out with different friends, or so she said, even though she barely had any. This gave me enough to work out that she had told me a half-truth and that she was still doing shady stuff. I still don't understand the reason to half confess something to just keep on doing it. The relationship was pretty much dead in every aspect, and I had suggested the idea of breaking it up because I saw no point anymore, but she insisted on trying and trying because I had found her a good job and she was making big progress thanks to my friends. When I realized this was her reason to go on, something clicked inside me. I had been there for her through unimaginable familiar shit, professional frustrations and personal betrayals from her friends. I gave her my all the time. I lived to make her happy. But in reality she had been living on my expense and leaving me in the dark. Being the fucking idiot that I was, I started plotting my Arctic cold revenge in silence. I contacted a random girl, J, that gave me her number some months before these events but that I never got to call due to me being faithful. I explained why I never called and she was down for it. The first date we only flirted, but a kiss from her surprised me at the end. It made me feel awkward and guilty. The very next day I waited for my girlfriend to get in the shower and opened her messages to snoop around. I discovered what I had suspected for various weeks: she had kept the show going and to incredible levels. Going out multiple times a week, sending pictures, sexting very often and even during time windows in which I was with her. Copying and pasting sex-related messages that she sent to me when we met. Even posing for him with clothes my parents gifted her for Christmas. My guilt flew out the window. Somehow I managed to control myself from freaking out and exposing her. This mustered all the courage and blind rage I needed, so that night I called Jay again and went through with it in the most spectacular anger-driven way I could imagine. For the next 2 months or so I kept this up, had sex with Jay as much as hard and as often as I could while still being a normal boyfriend. Some days I spent the entire evening fucking Jay just to see my girlfriend at night and fuck her some more while I focused on the hate in my head. After that I usually left out little hints of mistrust towards her just to make her feel anxious and guilty. In the end I broke things off with my girlfriend, uncovering her lies, but kept my things to myself so I could keep my moral superiority over hers. She denied it all even after I showed her proof. She cried for days about getting back together. This part actually made me feel like it was all for nothing and never really gave me closure. Jay got comfortable around me, but I was far gone into the narrative of this plan. I couldn't even consider going out with anyone at this point, so I had to stop things with her too. In a much less dramatic way, cause she was partly aware of what was going on with me and was mostly in this for the sex. Some months passed and the girl that my ex most hated, cause she was very popular among common male friends, happened to come work with me. To my surprise we hooked up and kind of got close to each other, but not seriously. My ex was still bitter over the breakup when she found out and texted me to confirm it. I avoided answering and instead drove to her house to tell her in person and watch her crumble. All this shit did nothing but mess with my head. Her cheating gave me anxiety of other people betraying me, but what I did proved that I too was a piece of shit like no other. Since the realization of this, my treatment for women and relationships has changed greatly. I would never pull some shit like this again, but at the same time it had to happen for me to change and see the consequences of letting oneself go with rage and hate. It only leads to pain, not healing. Here are some of the best comments from our community. I don't think you should be proud of this, dude. Okay, your ex cheated on you. Break up and move on. Instead, you used an innocent girl and then threw her away like a used napkin. And then in your last paragraph, you were just petty. Sorry, but you were just as much of an asshole as your ex. Basically you posted this as a way to tell people what hurt can do to rationality. Which is to throw it all out the window. I didn't do my revenge quite like you did, but I did stoop to the revenge level. No, it isn't justified, and yes, it absolutely was the wrong thing. As long as you learn your lesson and never want to repeat it, then, no, you aren't a bad person, you just made a bad judgment call. In life we are going to make mistakes. Cheating is only considered a mistake if you never do it again. If you are the true assholes who keep doing it, you can't call it a mistake. I'm sorry she broke your heart. Just know she was only a learning relationship. You will find your person when you heal and let her and all she did go. Here is the second story. I just want to know why she did what she did. Yes, I assume this may be a little bit unconventional for this sub, but I am the person that was being cheated on. She has tried it more than once, mostly emotionally, investing herself in other men that she barely knew with so much force and motivation that it may seem like I hit at her every day. I don't. This weekend, she met a coworker that she has been meeting up with almost every day for the past 3 weeks. He invited her over to his place, she went and then he fucked her. She told me 2 to 3 days later, but I couldn't see any kind of regret or remorse for what she did in her explanations. It always boiled down to he treated me so well, it just happened, I kinda wanted it too. She only told me after he blocked her on WhatsApp because she became a complete emotional wreck and sent him 80+ messages in a few hours on how he could play with her like that she wants to make him happy, etc. Our relationship has been pretty much dead for 6+ months at this point. No sex whatsoever, despite me trying to initiate all the time and her blocking off. We've had countless troubles in this time, financially and through all the stress emotionally. However, she has 2 kids that the state took her and that I am trying to help her get back. And I did wonders for her despite not being too stable myself, like moving 2 times, paying huge apartments and whatnot. The financial fallout the last few months would have gotten better in the coming months, so I really cannot understand why someone would do this. In the past months, she has been a huge disrespectful bitch. She would make me responsible for every small problem that we have, and despite trying to work on a lot of it and getting really good at it, she would just completely block off all intimacy and emotions because men only get sex when they deserve it. I've tried a lot to gain a deeper level of intimacy and rapport with her, but to no avail. I only now realize writing this that I allowed her to completely dominate and beta me. I don't think I would have had any respect for myself in the past months. So I'll just move out now, live my life, care only about my well-being and try to meet new women. I just told her that she was welcome to message me if she would like to start over, but that I am not willing to put up with any of her shit again. Here are some of the best comments from our community. She doesn't like you. You're convenient. Move on. First of all, it sounds like this is not your fault. I'd ignore the self-criticism if being beta. I don't think it's helpful. Why did she do it? The short story was that she wanted it. Simple as that. It's impossible to give the exact reasons without knowing you and her. Going off your limited info is prone to bias. I wish I could give you more. Not saying this is your situation, but often what happens is that often people have the sense that something is missing at home and then that's why they seek out adventure, intimacy, excitement. In my opinion, many times this is influenced by a person's past, particularly the kinds of relationships they had before. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.